The AFC Women's Asian Cup for 2026 was ushered in with a spectacular opening ceremony at Perth Stadium yesterday, featuring none other than Audrey Nuna of K-pop Demon Hunters fame. And with 500 million viewers on Netflix, they can't be wrong. A 45,000 strong crowd set a new benchmark for the competition on the opening night, and the tournament hosts played their part as the Matildas secured a comfortable 1-0 win against the Philippines. Hello and welcome to the first episode of our Dub Zone specials celebrating the AFC Women's Asian Cup. I'm Amy Duggan, and joining me to review the opening match of the tournament from Melbourne, Grace Maher, and from Melbourne and Matilda, Carly Roestbakken. Welcome to the pair of you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Great to have you both here. Solid performance by the Matildas against a stoic opposition, Gracie.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty convincing when you look at the stats. The scoreline probably didn't reflect what was a really dominant performance, possession. And yeah, for the Philippines, it was they dug deep, and I think it was sort of a win-win for both teams.
Carly, what did you think of the Matildas' efforts last night? There was a lot of expectation, no doubt a little bit of pressure playing in front of a bumper home crowd in the West.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the girls, they do have a lot of pressure on them playing a tournament at home. And, you know, we're expecting a lot from the Matildas, and they did go out there and they got the win, and that's what they really needed. I do think into the next game, though, they need to start building on this performance. You know, against the Philippines, we're maybe expecting a few more goals, but hopefully they can build on it in the next games.
Well, it looked like the goals were going to flow, didn't it? Because who else but Sam Kerr, in front of her home crowd, broke the deadlock for the Aussies in the 14th minute. We take a look here with Claire Wheeler putting in that wicked cross to Caitlin Ford, and of course Sam Kerr on the spot, Grace, to power it home.
Yeah, you don't leave Sam alone in the 6-yard box. I think that's something we've learnt over the years. So really great cross from Wheeler after quite a great opening 10 minutes from her. Caitlin Ford's done excellent there to get the header across the goal for Sam to finish. And, you know, when Sam uses her head, it's going back in the net.
Carly, she climbs so high, Caitlin Ford, and normally you'd expect her to try and put that one on target, but in this case, back across the goal to an unmarked Sam Kerr.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, a really good move from her, and, you know, the use of Sam in there. They have missed that in the last few games with Sam being injured, and I think they've really utilised that this game. They were trying to go wide and, you know, get crosses into the box because they knew they had Sam in there.
Well, 851 days. November 2023 was the last time Sam Kerr hit the back of the net for the Matildas. And after that opening goal, we thought the floodgates might open for the Matildas. The possession was crazy numbers, Grace. 88% possession to the Matildas, 41 accurate passes for the Philippines, 595 passes for the Matildas, accurately hitting feet.
Yeah, I think the numbers sort of tell the story, don't they? And I think we were expecting that from the Philippines. They were going to bunker down and make it really difficult, and I think they did. We were able to get shots off only from distance, and there wasn't any really clear-cut chances. You know, with Claire Wheeler and Gorry's shots, Emily Van Egmond had a really good opportunity to score from a similar area that Sam did. But, you know, for that many passes and possessions, 6 shots on target is probably something that isn't ideal, and like Rusty said, we have to build on that for the next game.
We saw Steph Catley miss that shot there. It was a remarkable setup, isn't it, Carly, as a wing-back to see Ellie Carpenter so high, Steph Catley so high, and right in there with shots on goal.
Yeah, and I think that was one of their game plans this game, was pushing Ellie forward a lot, and we saw in the second half Steph kind of sat in a bit. But then in the first half, they both were getting high, and I think that, you know, Steph has a really great left foot on her. Ellie is great at bombing down the line. She's great at overlapping. She's great at putting in crosses as well. It is something that maybe we would like to see a bit more from Ellie, how we see where she is with Chelsea and how she is driving at players. She's taking shots outside the box, and she's hit, you know, an amazing one against Barcelona in the Champions League. And I think that that is something that in the next few games we would like to see a bit more of from her.
The Matildas look like they were cruising almost in first gear all night, Grace, and it's wonderful that they've got the points and the win, but it wasn't quite the result I think that many of Matildas fans would have been expecting. Is this the kind of message we want to send in the opening match?
I don't think ideally it was. We would definitely wanted to have more goals behind us. And I think it's really difficult in a tournament like this where you come up against so many different calibers of teams. So, we knew that the Philippines were probably going to bunker down because they knew they didn't have the personnel to really hurt Australia unless it was on a counter. But we've got our last group game against South Korea. It's a very different opponent with some world-class players. Is the preparation for these first opening matches going to get them to that level that they need for that game? Well, time will tell, but I think, they're going to have to step it up another 2 notches for Iran, and then even more so for the last game.
They went out there with a very strong starting lineup, a lot of stars on the park, and I think the expectation was for some more goals, Carly. But can we just for a moment focus on the Philippines and the strategy that they used to hold the Matildas out?
Yeah, well, the Philippines, they knew, like Grace said, that they maybe don't have the personnel to really break down Australia. They were hoping for a transition maybe, but they went into this game sitting really compact and just trying to concede as little as possible. And you got to credit to them. It worked. They only conceded 1 goal, and I think that they'd probably take a lot of positives from that game and maybe take it as a win.
Perhaps strategy from Mark Tocaso there, the coach of the Philippines, and Aussie, of course, holding the Matildas to just 1 goal, which will look pretty good for them moving into the back half of the tournament, limiting the damage there. Let's get some reaction from Caitlin Ford now, who acknowledged there is room for improvement ahead of their next match against Iran on Thursday.
Yeah, I think we have a lot to work on. We would have loved to get a few more goals, but credit to the Philippines. They worked really hard to keep us out, but our goal today was just to get the win and to get the job done, and we did that. So, happy with that. I think for us, we've got to build into this tournament. It's been a while since we've played together. So, I think we're just getting back into the flow of things and building relationships again. And, that's going to keep growing and growing with every game we play. So, hopefully next game a little bit better.
Caitlin Ford there with her post-match reaction, and Grace admitting there's a little bit of rust in there.
Yeah, and she actually brings up a good point. They haven't played together. This has come off the back of the longest sort of break from playing international football. And historically, when we used to come into big tournaments like this, I remember in the 2016 Olympics that they would have a big block of a training period or a camp leading into it, but they really came in and kicked it off within a few days from all their responsibilities at their clubland. So it's fair to say that they are dusting off a few of the cobwebs.
That's what it looked like too, didn't it, Rusty?
Yeah, absolutely. And, like Grace said, they usually do have a longer block. So, and, when they're in clubland, they've got all these different personnel. They've got world-class players around them as well. So they're kind of trusted to go off there and put in the hard yards there. So but coming back together, it is really hard when you've had a long period away from each other. You have to gel again. You have to learn all the traits again. Well, not learn, but, you have to adjust to them as well because they're at the club all the time. Like 90% of the time they're there and they're with different players. So it's kind of readjusting again.
Well, speaking of club mates, Caitlin Ford's teammate at Arsenal, Steph Catley, had high praise for Chloe Lincoln, the Brisbane Roar shot stopper, who was thrust into the starting 11 after Jada Wyman withdrew from the squad with a knee injury.
Chloe's a great keeper and she's showed herself really well at training, so I had full faith that she was absolutely ready. And she's playing a lot at club level and she's fit and firing. So the message is just to go out there and be yourself and know that the whole team supports you, and it's all of us out there. It's not just one player. So we're all in that together, and it was good to get a clean sheet and a win.
Yeah, a clean sheet it was for Chloe Lincoln in just her 4th cap for the Matildas. Crazy to think we've, gone down the list to a 4th keeper, but great for Chloe to get minutes.
It's unheard of, isn't it, really? How can 3 keepers go out injured? I don't think I've heard anything like that. But, we've known Chloe. She came up through Canberra and she's a Canberra girl, so I'm really proud of her and it's good to see her get some more minutes.
Yeah, you could see that sigh of relief after the game and she hugged the goalkeeper coach. I think she didn't have much to do, but I think they're almost the most dangerous games because one slip up from defence and all of a sudden what's been a cruisy game becomes a crucial moment. That didn't really happen in this game. Every time she sort of got the ball at her feet, the Philippines retreated to halfway, so she just, but for her, what an incredible opportunity. She would have just been beside herself, first being caught up into camp and then starting that opening game in such a beautiful stadium full of screaming fans. So happy for her, and I think it can give confidence for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if she maintains her spot in the starting lineup for the next game against Iran now, I'm guessing. There was some other great news to come out of the game because we had our first look at Mary Fowler in the green and gold following her recovery from an ACL injury last night. The Manchester City striker was introduced in the 67th minute and you could absolutely hear the crowd going wild, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. She is... There's one word I can say for Mary Fowler, and she's a wonder kid. She's someone that she kind of has all the attributes you want as a footballer, and there's a lot of talk at the moment what position is best for her, whether if it's out wide, it's the 10. However, when she came on in this game, you could see that things really opened up. The floodgates did start to come, and, you know, she's really pivotal at being in those little pockets and turning. She's driving at players. She's kind of just creating something different rather than, you know, as we saw in the first half, especially, we're going wide and getting those crosses in. But as soon as Mary came on, she is finding those pockets and we're trying to do little 1-2s around and she's getting shots off outside the box and we're finding those combinations. So she offers something really different in there that I think the Matildas really need.
Grace, it was a quiet period after half-time until Mary Fowler came on the pitch. In fact, just the one shot on goal in that period, I think, before she entered. Would you like to see her start in the next game?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you got to look at load management now for her coming back. So yes, she's back. She's looking fantastic. I think there's certain athletes like Mary who come back stronger from such long rehabs like ACL. You saw that with Ellie Carpenter as well. But Iran is not going to be our hardest test of the series, and building her minutes up so that she can be there in the back end is probably more ideal. So I wouldn't be surprised if she does start but comes off quite early against Iran, or comes on for another little bit of a cameo. But the Matildas are certainly better with her on the pitch.
Yeah, a wonderful strike on goal and plenty of creativity in the 10-roll, Cully, but she was moved around on the pitch just a little bit.
Yeah, she was. We did see her go out wide. And I think that kind of just shows her versatility. Like I said, that's the issue that she's kind of having at the moment, but it's a great issue to have. I think when you have Sam as 9, she is a great player to have underneath her because she does sit in those pockets. She can drop, she can link up with her and feed her. But yeah, Mary's someone that you can kind of put anywhere up front, anywhere in the midfield really. So I think she's just such a special player and, you know, they've got a lot of options for her.
Yeah, she really did look like she was in the class of her own when she came onto the field. And head coach Joe Montemuro was satisfied with the effort from his team, but conceded there was work to be done, particularly in the middle.
We worked on a build-up in a certain way against the team we knew was going to be very, very deep, and we felt that with Steph, Claire Hunt and Winona, we could progress quite quickly and allow Ali to sort of go in a little bit. So we were looking to overload an area, and that worked. We got through a few times. Yeah, but look, there's obviously some areas we need tactically to tighten up and clean up a little bit. But all in all, we progressed well. We progressed in the right areas. We just needed to be better in and around the box.
Joe Montemuro, there was his thoughts post-match. He mentioned tidying up things tactically and technically. What do you think he was referring to, Grace?
I think it's probably the quality of chances that they create. I know Pep loves playing with building up with the back 3, so he was sort of hinted to that in Steph staying a little bit more deep and central, and then Ellie being able to bomb on. And if we're going to look at where they were trying to overload, I'm pretty sure it was going to be out wide, where, you know, the goal came from in Claire Wheeler as a midfielder, crossing the ball. When you've got Sam Kerr in the box, I don't blame them. But, yeah, I think tactically it is their ability to cut through teams centrally, because the more central your shots are, better chance of scoring. So I think that will be something they'll really look to increase against Iran, because, yeah, that's where the best chances are going to come from.
Do you agree with that, Carly, or do you see something additionally?
No, I definitely agree with that. I think when you've come up against a team that does just sit in a low block, it's kind of how can we move them? How can we draw them out? How can we make them jump so we can find those spaces? Because a little bit, the only solution that it looked before Mary came on was to go around and get those crosses in, but, you know, we didn't really have big chances from it besides the Sam goal and also Emily Van Egmont's header. So I think it's trying to draw them out and can we go through them more and how can we really break them down?
Because it'll be an interesting template now for teams that play Australia in the future. More on that in a moment, because as we mentioned earlier, a record crowd of almost 45,000 people rolled into Perth Stadium yesterday. Let's hear from a few of the Matildas faithful as they made their way into the cauldron.
I like Sam Kerr because she's really good and she scores a lot of goals.
I think our favourite player is Sam Kerr because we love her energy on the field.
Mary Fowler, she seems very nice and she's a really good team player. My favourite Matildas player is Sam Kerr because she's the shortest and she is the captain and she scores more goals than most people. My favourite player is Sam Kerr because she's a popular player and she's really good.
I think we're all Sam Kerr fans. I think it's just amazing how she's made a name for herself, not just in Australia, but even on an international level. So yeah, and she's from Perth as well. So yeah, I think we're all big Sam Kerr fans.
Taste of all the colour and the fandom for Sam Kerr there as the fans made their way into the stadium yesterday. And as part of delivery of the AFC Women's Asian Cup, organisers have introduced health hubs. They're outside each of the venues, positioning health, learning and community connection as a central part of each matchday experience. So here you can see outside Perth Stadium, we had Harder Football, Share the Dignity, Endometriosis Australia, Gaining Ground and Football Futures Foundation, all well represented. Grace and Carly, this is such a great initiative which will be available outside venues in Sydney and on the Gold Coast as well, but it's about football being bigger than the sport, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the social responsibility football and sport in general has played in the last decade has grown enormously. And when traditionally we used to just be like, it's all about on the field stuff, everything and your opinions sort of keep off it. And now we're seeing this world where really good causes are blending with sport and creating more change and good for the communities. And this is a great way to get the fans and these people that maybe don't have much knowledge in and learning about some really important causes.
Yeah, and it's just super important to keep that, off the field reach with everyone and create a sort of community around it. Because like you said, it's greater than the game, and getting involved in these charities and these initiatives, it's just also going to grow our game. But I think it's really important to show that, within football, it isn't just about the sport. It isn't just about this 90-minute game. It's about the people that also come and support us and, everything off it as well. Yeah,
the power of the game. It's a wonderful thing. So let's hear now from some of the participating charities at Perth Stadium yesterday.
Now, 80% of cardiac arrests at a hospital happen at home. So teaching kids and anyone very simple 3 steps: call, push and shock is super, super important, and we save lives, and we've saved many lives over 10 years of doing this at community sport.
The energy in the Women's Health Hub has been absolutely incredible. I think it's a testament to how far we've come since the last major tournament, which was the Women's World Cup. I think seeing families coming out, seeing dads and boys wearing a Matildas jersey is incredible as well. We've had a lot of young women coming up, girls playing football coming up to our booth, and we've been asking them, in the spirit of what we do, is what's one thing you would say to a teammate or a friend to lift someone up? How do we spread that kindness and make people feel seen and heard through community sport? So yeah, the energy has been very exciting. Can't wait for the game to start.
To have this opportunity for a small charity like Endometriosis Australia is immense. The fact that we've been involved in this, we're so grateful to actually meet the community, to have this opportunity to meet with young people and older people in this great environment on such a great day. Money can't buy. It's amazing. We really, really appreciate it.
Football spreading the love, and Perth Glory's Ninja A-League stars were also full of praise for the game-changing initiatives.
Yeah, I think it's important. Obviously, health is huge. We want people to be active, so I think this displays it really well, and I think you can obviously see with the engagement that they're getting around it, you can see how important it is.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, it brings so much community base to the game. It's awesome to have all these people come like hours before the game to support, and it's cool that we're able to come and see it.
It's been amazing. I think obviously you can tell how many people are excited for the game this afternoon, but obviously for us to interact with them as well, it's important, and obviously being Perth locals, it's nice to see them around and supporting women's football.
Yeah, footballers with international football in their own backyard, it doesn't get much better than that. You two are on a little hiatus from the Ninja A-League at the moment. You must be missing being out there on the paddock. What are you up to?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit strange, isn't it? Because we want to go week in, week out, because sometimes the momentum can shift a little bit. But, you know, we're still training. We only had 2 days off, essentially. So we're putting in the hard yards, and we do have a very small group at training actually at the moment, because a lot of the girls have gone to junior, young Matildas and the Matildas and external national team. So we're trying to do as much as we can together and prepare for our next game.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that at least there's plenty of football to still watch, because that usually fills up my weekend. But yeah, I think, you know, one thing we get to do is have opportunities like this, which is fantastic for us as well. Trying to push the women's game, and yeah, might have to go do a little bit of running when I get home, but it's otherwise it's, yeah, train as usual.
No rest for the wicked, I see. And as the Matildas were preparing for the tournament opener in Perth, the young Matildas assembled in Western Sydney for a camp ahead of their Asian Cup, which takes place in Thailand in April. Let's hear now from their head coach, Alex Apakis, along with a couple of his star players on how their plans are progressing.
It's a really important camp, obviously, with the Asian Cup for us just around the corner. This particular week was about bringing in players who have, you know, done some really good things for us over the course of the cycle, through qualification and previous camps, and also players that are doing well in the A-League. For us, it was just about ensuring that there's some clarity around what it is we're going to look like on the pitch, but also what it's going to look like for us off the pitch from a culture perspective. We have a range of coaches coming in, and it's, you know, we're here, we're open. I think there's a real duty here to bring people along the journey with us, because everyone's contributing to this. All A-League clubs, all A-League coaches, and various, you know, member-fed programs. We really talk about habits and actions, and we try and influence them when they're here around those areas, and look for them to be the best versions of themselves when they're in here. And that's all we can ask when they leave. We want them to be a young Matilda and perform their habits and actions like a young Matilda would do in their own environments.
Yeah, he's really big on the culture, which I think is a big thing. All the clubs I've been at with success have had a really good culture off the field, so I think during the hard moments that's what gets you through. And then also on the field, he's big about just being creative, being yourself, being dynamic, and yeah, enjoying our football.
The main message has just been to be brave on the ball, like play out with the team and just trust yourself and play freely, which I really like about Alex. He lets us play as free as we want, doesn't give us too many rules to follow, but just high on standards.
We do not stop! We do not stop!
With the strong teams in the Asian Cup, there's talent equally spread across all the groups. Japan are fantastic, and they've been fantastic for a long time in these youth tournaments. And that's the team we can't wait to go head-to-head with, because they're a really respectable team, and to my knowledge we haven't beaten that team at this age group before. We want to have a really aggressive performance against them and see what our best looks like against a solid team. What we're going to rely on to give us that extra edge is the Australian DNA, you know, that relentless ethic of working, you know, really hard, having a really strong culture and a really strong environment. I really believe that those areas can help us perform even better on the pitch. We know from a football point of view what we can do, but we want to make sure we're strong and we're connected on and off the pitch, and I believe that successful teams have those ingredients. Myself, Joe and Mike Cooper with the 17s, we have weekly conversations and formalised meetings. We're lifting the bonnet on Australian women's football, and the unified approach that we've got around that is something I'm really proud to be a part of, and Joe's sort of leading that in a really good way. And yeah, I get I get quite excited every time we have those types of discussions, and I think we're taking some big steps forward together as a coaching unit as well.
Some thoughts there from young Matildas head coach Alex Opakis ahead of their Asian Cup, which kicks off in April. Here is a bit of a look at the young Matildas squad, which is stacked with Ninja A-League talent, including Peter Trimmis, who we saw there. Gracie Sienna Silvestre is there from Melbourne Victory as well.
Yeah, a fantastic young player. Obviously, she had a great season last year with the Wanderers and has been heavily involved in the under-20 squads in previous years. And yeah, made the move across to Victory, and she's made some appearances. And yeah, she's a wonderful talent, and I'm really excited to see how she goes in this free-flowing young Matilda squad under Alex.
Among the names there, Talia Eunice, Sky Hamarak, Tiana Fuller. We've also got a couple from your side, Carly. Alexia Apostolakis, Daniela Buttress and Shelby McMahon from Melbourne City, all included. And the squad just oozes quality, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And those three names that you've named there are just, they're talented young girls. I'm a bit biased because, City obviously. But no, those three girls, they're going to go very far in their career. And I think having them in the young Matilda squad, you've got Lex and Shelby, who I think are also really great leaders, and they can step into that role. And Danny Buttress, who has just stepped onto the scene, but she has a lot of flair and a lot of spunk about her.
And this is, of course, 17-year-old Shelby McMahon. She's been a very regular contributor for your City side this season. 9 starts, 2 games off the bench, 3 goals already. Her progression, can you believe she's only 17?
No, and I've been saying this to me. She feels like she's been 17 for the last 3 years. So when she joined us, she actually was 14. And when she came into the squad, all of us just went, this girl is unbelievable. The way she came in, she's been playing like she was a 20-year-old plus, like she's that mature, and you can't forget what she did in the AFC last year for us. She scored in the semi-final and the final, and she got us through to the final, and she's a player that you can bring on and you can really rely on her, and she's only 17, and I think that speaks volumes about her, is that she's well trusted within the group as well. She started out on the wing because we've got a lot of players in City, so it was kind of where can we put her, and then she's gone back into the midfield, and she's a very versatile player.
And absolutely built in the Ninja A-League, Grace. Now, the pair of you played for our young Matildas, many games under your belt, so you'll be well versed on the type of opposition we're going to be up against, because Australia's first match is on April 2nd against Chinese Taipei. Then it's India on April 5th. And finally, the big one, the final group game against powerhouses Japan on April 8th. The young Matildas have never beaten Japan at an under-20 level, Grace, if you can believe that.
Oh, I can. I remember losing to them. It's no easy feat, but I think one of the beautiful things about perhaps a lot of our Matildas heading overseas is this unique opportunity that our under-20s players are now becoming seasoned professionals. And I think that little edge that they have over, my time back with the young Matildas, there was only about 5 or 6 of us that were regular starters in the league. When you've now got a whole squad of 20, that if any year, this is the year they can do it, because they've got the talent and they've got the professionalism.
And Carly, you mentioned, so many of your teammates are away at this as part of this squad, but also of the Matildas squad. It is great to have young talent coming through the ranks and getting the opportunity to play, as you both did, on the international stage so early.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, we do have a lot of players, and we're very fortunate in that they get to go and experience and play at international. They get to play international football, and when they come back into the squad as well, it helps us. It helps us grow. They're pushing us, and having that diversity within the team is just amazing, because we also we need that. We need those players to go away to different environments to bring that back, so that we can really build on our team.
Real strength, and we wish them all the best, because all the action from the AFC Under-20 Women's Asian Cup in Thailand is on Paramount+, so make sure you're watching in April. The tournament final is on April 18. Let's get right behind our young Matildas to make it all the way to the decider. Every member of the senior Matildas team that took part in the tournament opener against the Philippines last night started their career in the Ninja A-League. So here's a reminder of one of those stars.
Sydney still wanting to attack. Here's Wheeler. Deep down that left-hand side into the box and firing it, rocketing it right across the goal face and into the side netting. Incredible stuff. Claire Wheeler with her second of this contest.
Aquino under pressure and it's in! But that has come off Wheeler and ricocheted into the net.
What a great chase down there by Claire Wheeler. She's done what she needs to do and manages to get herself a goal.
McLean, chance to deliver first time. Oh, the volley deflects in for Sydney FC. Claire Wheeler right on track for another grand final appearance.
Wow, Claire Wheeler, what a strike there.
Claire Wheeler there in all her glory. A great game last night. And an Adamstown Rosebud Junior who made 67 appearances for the Newcastle Jets and, believe it or not, 12 appearances for Sydney FC. Claire's now playing with Everton, of course, in the WSL. Carly, what is it you love about Claire Wheeler?
Oh, she's just a great player, isn't she? She's got a lot of energy. She's very fit as well. But she's really great in that 6 position, 6, 8 or 10 she could even play. We saw her getting forward there in last night's game. But she covers a lot of ground and she does a lot of the grunt work as well. But she's also great at, you know, getting in. She's very sly and very swifty, I think, and she's very clean on the ball as well. And she hits those simple passes and she does do, you know, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes a little bit unnoticed.
Grace, you would have lined up against Claire Wheeler many a time in the Ninja A-League, but you would have also been her teammate at one stage.
Yeah, Claire and I, good old left centre back and left back, back in the Young Matildas day, where we just, Gary Van Egmond loved getting us all on the park, even out of position. So very familiar with Wheels as we go to call her. And I think one of the things I used to hate was marking her in the midfield because it was hard to keep up. She's a great powerhouse engine. And I think she's been in the Matilda squad for a long time and probably has been given limited opportunities, but every time she stepped on the field, everyone's gone, wow, she's all class.
She definitely looked like she was fighting to keep her spot in that starting lineup last night. One of our best, that's for sure. And speaking of last night, we asked you to select your player of the match on the A-League social channels. The shortlist was Sam Kerr, Caitlin Ford, Claire Wheeler and Emily Van Egmond. Here are the results. Let's see what you said. Surprisingly, in agreeing with you two, Claire Wheeler won the poll with 52% last night. Solid performance, well deserved?
Yeah, I think so. If Mary Fowler had another 45 minutes in her, there'd be a different story. But Wheels was the energy and was making things happen at the start of that game. I think she was really aggressive getting forward, which is what you wanted to see. So yeah, very well deserved.
Yeah, and she provided that assist as well. So, I mean, I think she's well deserving of that.
Yeah, she was everywhere on the park last night. By the way, the official player of the match was Caitlin Ford, a good Illawarra girl, of course, Arsenal star and Matilda's superstar. Let's turn our attention to the Matilda's next group match coming up against Iran on the Gold Coast on Thursday night. It all starts at 7 p.m. local time, so that is 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. What changes do you girls think, if any, we can expect to see in the starting lineup? Grace, we'll come to you first.
I think backline stays the same. I think that's actually really important to build some consistency as the tournament goes on. I would like to see a change or two in the midfield. I thought Gori had quite a quiet night. You've obviously got Kyra Cooney Cross, you know, still waiting to see whether she comes back into the play, maybe off the bench. Mary Fowler, as we mentioned. And then I think you can be looking at giving a bit of an opportunity to Carly Johnson, Remy Simpson and Michelle Heyman in this match as well. So maybe mixing up that front line would be really interesting too.
I think Carly might say we want to see Holly Mack up there.
I took the words out of my mouth, actually. I definitely would love to see Holly. I think even in last night's game, she would have been a great player to bring on. She provides a lot of energy and we all know how quick she is as well. I would also, like you said, we're a bit undecided about Kyra, what's going to happen, but I think having her in that 6 role in that midfield, she is pivotal in this Matildas team. So having her back in, I think, would be really nice to see.
It'll be interesting to see if they go for a stronger starting lineup, Grace, and then make substitutions, or whether, as we've seen in previous games, they put out a different sort of looking team, and if the result and the goals don't come, then we see some of the superstars introduced.
Yeah, it's going to give us a real insight into sort of Joe's style in how he likes to approach games. I think most coaches tend to put out, especially tournament football, you just don't know, set the tone early. And then see where the game unfolds and look to your bench. You know, in international football, you get a whole bench full of another squad. So, and yeah, it'll be interesting, but I would expect to see a strong starting lineup. But I think if we do go up early, I'd love to see the changes.
What do you think Iran learnt from the Philippines' performance that they will be taking into this match, Carly?
Maybe sit in a block. I think what we saw in the Philippines, it frustrated the Matildas a lot. And they might be thinking, okay, can we use that same tactic? Can we just not concede and can we sit in and, you know, prevent goals?
Damage control,
yeah,
perhaps, more than anything else. Grace, what does Australia have to do to break down a block like that?
I think they have to be, again, aerially really good, because they're probably going to look for a lot of crosses again. And if you can put one or two behind, you know, that Iranian backline and put some in, then, you know, the pressure comes off us, and maybe there's a little bit more space and freedom in the midfield. But yeah, they just have to be better. I think it was a good start, just cleaner, and probably take a few more risks in that, knowing that they've got a pretty good chance of recovering the ball quite quickly. Some riskier passes that do lead to better goal scoring opportunities.
They had plenty of ball inside the box, 44 touches inside the box against the Philippines the other night. We just need a few more goals, please, from the girls in the gold and green. And there is just one place you need to visit to catch up on all your AFC Women's Asian Cup news and videos involving players from the Ninja A-League, and that is the Ninja A-League's website and app. We'll have match highlights, press conferences, player features and polls running over the next 3 weeks, so make sure you check it all out at aleagues.com.au/built in the Ninja A-League. That is all we have time for in our first edition of the Dub Zone. It went quickly, didn't it? For the AFC Women's Asian Cup. A big thank you to Grace and to Carly for joining us on today's show. A quick score prediction for the Iran game?
I'm going to go 4-0 Australia.
Carly?
I'm going to go 3.
Ooh, still quite tight. Well, we will wait and see, because you'll be back on the Friday edition of the show, which will actually be hosted by Narlene Masto, who's in the thick of the action alongside the Matildas throughout the tournament. Until then, I'm Amy Duggan. Good luck to the Tillies. It's goodbye.